Look, ladies, I don't like when you get complimented and your immediate response is to downplay yourself or reject the compliment. And I'm just brushing past the girls who immediately redirect with a compliment back, thinking you have to prove your worthiness for the compliment that you just received. Babe, a lot of this happens because of not feeling comfortable in your own beauty and not believing in your own beauty. If you don't appreciate your beauty or recognize your beauty, you don't recognize your divinity. And when you don't recognize your divinity, you don't recognize your self-worth. So when you don't recognize the value that you carry within yourself, you will accept settling, getting treated less than. You will accept mistreatment, lack the motivation and passion to take care of yourself. And not just take care of your physical presence, I mean taking care of yourself emotionally and mentally. And aside from all this, it just really hurts my heart when I see so much women who talk about, I hate the way my eyebrows look, my lips are, my skin tone is. It breaks my heart so much that our whole lives as women, we have been thrown these beauty standards and these different type of expectations for ourselves that we are jumping through hoops trying to keep up with. It's just so unnecessary. So I want to share with you the ways that you will appreciate and recognize the beauty within yourself and of yourself. But first I'm going to talk about the physical stuff, and then we can get towards the internal stuff. But let's talk about the physical. There are 3 tips in total I'm going to share throughout this video to talk about how to appreciate your own beauty. And the first one is going to be learning your roots. As BIPOC women, there's a lot of features we have that come from our ancestors, but we don't know about those features and we never care to recognize the value of them or where they come from, because we have all these beauty standards now that have nothing to do with where our roots are derived from. Personally, I hated my brown eyes. What else did I not like? Honestly, I always thought I was pretty beautiful, and I still think I'm pretty beautiful. But like my sisters, my brother and my sister, they have a big nose. I know that's obviously that's a thing within the Black community that they've learned to overcome, or that they are overcoming, is hating their big nose. And I don't think we really emphasize how beautiful these big noses are until we understood that they come from our ancestors. They come from a different land. They come from where we originated from. I've never loved my features more than ever than knowing where they come from. Like I mentioned, my brown eyes. I was wearing contacts for like 3 straight years of blue eyes because I've always wanted blue eyes my entire life. Even when I was like 13, I had colored contacts, but they just weren't like as prevalent. Even just like my entire facial structure, my long brown hair, my lips, brows, it wasn't the individual pieces, but it was all of it put together that I was visibly aware that I'm not a white blonde girl. I was just visibly aware of that. I used to hate wearing hoop earrings because I always felt like I looked too Latina, and I felt like people were gonna treat me different or categorize me in some way. Looking at all these pieces together, it reminded me of what America would consider as low class, uneducated, dirty. One day I was doing my own research. It just clicked to me one day, like, oh my god, wait, there were tribes before it was Mexico and United States, literally a year ago. I'm half Mexican, half Guatemalan. Mexicans, they were named after the Mexica people. So the Mexica people were indigenous people, right? There are a bunch of different Aztec tribes that reside in Mexico, and there are 22 Mayan tribes that make up the Mayan people. So I looked up what are the indigenous tribes that reside in Durango, because that's where my mom is from. And I saw pictures of these people called the Tepehuanes. There was pictures and they looked exactly like my mom. It looked exactly like my grandpa. And I was like, no freaking way. So I sent a picture to a group chat and I was telling my family about it. And my mom was like, no, we're Apache. So I do the same thing on my dad's side. I asked my dad, hey, out of these 22 tribes, which one are we? He says Quiche. So I look up the Quiche people, I look at pictures of them, videos of them. It was like one of the first times I've seen a group of people, these pictures of people that I didn't know, but they looked so much like me and I saw myself in them. I saw my nose, forehead, and my eyes in the Tepehuanes people. I saw my mouth, my cheeks, and the Quiche people. It was a different type of like, oh, they look like me. It was different. It was like recognizing where you've come from and how significant each feature of my face is and how carefully placed the universe made me. After doing all that, embracing my culture, embracing the roots, learning about the roots, I looked in the mirror completely different. When I looked in the mirror, I stopped wearing blue contacts. I wore my hair down. I allowed myself to sit in the identity of Indigenous, of Native American. For the first time ever, I thought it was so fucking beautiful and majestic to see myself in the mirror after generations and generations and generations passed down, and this is the beauty that I've been given. And each feature is very significant of someone who walked before me. I don't remember her name, but I think it was Maria Longanese, something like that. She talks about this idea of the short self and the long self. Say you put your right hand to the right of your face and you put the left hand to the left of your face. So you say to the right hand, what was the date you were born? 11/24/99. And when you say to the left hand, now say the date that you die. Obviously, I don't know when I'm gonna die, so I don't say anything. But this idea of the time in between your two hands is your existence. That is everything that makes up who you are, your time on this earth. She explains this concept. This is your short self. We should be thinking about our long self. What is our long self? Everything that comes before our birth and everything that comes after. Think about your parents being born, and then their parents being born, and their parents being born, and their work they went to, the school they did, the things they did every day that led them up all the way to you. And everything you're doing today, everything you practice today, what you leave when you're gone, that will exist on after you. So when we think about like, why should we keep talking about what our ancestors did or whatever? Because that is who we are. We are an extension of them. And what we do here and today will affect the people that come after us. The more you understand and connect with your roots, the more you will be able to see the perfection and the carefully placed features of yourself that makes you so beautiful. And that's just face, but we could even talk a body. We all have a little fupa. We all have roles. If we go back in time, that is probably so freaking normal. Girls with larger areolas. Some women don't like their stuff, but it comes from your roots. And when you learn why these people adapted their bodies to the way they were over time, you'll understand the significant use of each placement of body parts, of features you have. That's where you recognize your power. The second step to appreciating your beauty is walking in alignment with your true self. When you walk in alignment with your true self, you build respect for yourself. When you build self-respect for yourself, you can start to trust yourself. And when you trust yourself, that will come out in your self-talk, which self-talk is the third tip. So let's come back to walking in alignment with your true self. To practice walking in alignment with your true self, write down a list of things that you want to do. Forget everything you have to do. Write down what you want to do. And when you write down what you want to do, write down the little stuff. For example, I want laminated brows, to drink smoothies every day, have a nice friend group, knit myself a sweater. Little stuff. Write little stuff that you want to do. And slowly fit in those little things into your calendar. Get those little things done. Work on a little task. The reason that you'll do this is because when you write down stuff that you want, you're tuning into your voice. You're asking yourself, what do I want? What do I need? Me, personally. And when you act on it and you complete and do those things, you show yourself that you're here for yourself. You show up for yourself. And you build self-respect because yourself understands, hey, she said she was going to do something and she did it. I respect her. She showed up for me. I respect her. And when you can build that respect, you're building trust. Because now you trust yourself to get the thing done, to listen to your voice, to listen to your needs. And when that trust is formed, you have built a strong connection with your inner voice. And now you're able to have a stronger grip in control of what you're telling yourself inside your head. Which leads to my third point, which is the biggest point. Your self-talk. Your self-talk is literally going to make or break you. Well, they always say it's never physical, it's always mental. It's a mindset thing. They always say that. You gotta believe it before you see it. They always say that. What you are telling yourself in here is what comes out here. Look, the self-talk, it's a lot of work to undo if you don't believe in yourself, or if you feel like you're not getting things done, or if you've always been around toxic, negative people your entire life. It's gonna be a lot of work, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. And that doesn't mean it's gonna be completely, utterly hard. That's not, don't give up before you even try. JT from the City Girls, JT, she said, you might not win every day, but you lose if you don't try. When it comes to self-talk, the way that you can fix these things is 5-minute morning affirmation on Spotify. Look it up, 5-minute morning affirmations on Spotify. Get affirmation cards. I have these affirmation cards. Let me show you. I have these affirmation cards, and you just like pull one in the morning or at night. And this one says strength, so I'm gonna read it to you, okay? Because when I say affirmation cards, it's not just like, oh, I'm worthy, I deserve it. It's like a prayer. This one says, today I maintain control of my emotions. I rise above self-doubt. I affirm my own power. I affirm my own power and stand strong in my unshakable faith. Today, I know that I have the strength to overcome anything I encounter. I find my courage in the truth. Holding tight to the force of love, I triumph over fear. I have like an extension on my Google Chrome that you add it, and like every time I open a new tab, it has an affirmation. Like the tab that opens is just one big page and it says one affirmation. Stuff like that. So those are little things. But also, getting around people in places that uplift you, support you, and celebrate you. I was taking these studio classes at P-Volve. It's like this workout classes, and I was telling the instructors, I was like, you know what, I think being here really helps my self-talk. They would remember your name, so throughout the workout it would get hard. You would hear them say your name, be like, go Aisa, you can do it. You're giving it your all, and they're like, wow Aisa, keep going, and you got it Aisa, you got it Aisa. And so hearing other people tell me that reinforces that in my head, so that when they're not telling me that and I'm in the same zone, I'll remember the voice and I'll remember to tell myself that. And when I tell myself that, game fucking over. I'm in. I've been consistently going to therapy, so my therapist makes it a point to reassure me and say, I'm proud of you, you should be proud of yourself. Look at all that you're accomplishing, look at all that you're doing, because we don't celebrate ourselves enough. And remember when Rihanna said, I don't think you guys celebrate yourself enough? We don't fucking celebrate ourselves enough, and that's why we always feel like we're not doing enough. That's why we don't think we're beautiful, and that's why we don't have no passion to take care of ourselves or motivation to just get up and do what we want to do, because we don't believe in ourselves, because we don't celebrate ourselves. We don't celebrate the small wins, and the small wins are what leads to the big wins, and you have to win the small wins to believe that you'll win the big wins. When I say self-talk and getting around people and places that support, uplift, and celebrate you, you will have to cut people out of your life. And cutting them off does not mean ghost and cussing them out. That literally means just slowly distancing yourself from them, not responding as much, muting their posts and stories to just not cause drama, occupying yourself intentionally so that you generally don't have time to be hanging out with them. These people that I'm saying to cut off are gonna be the people that always have something negative to say, or are always trying to correct you, or speak on your life, or speak for you, or people that are always talking about their misfortune, the shit that they're going through. They never have a happy note or something to celebrate. I get it. We all go through our hard times. We all go through bullshit in life, and we need a friend. That is fine. But misfortune is an infectious disease, and you will get contaminated if you sit in it a little too longer, a little too late. The people who are probably your biggest ops are the people who are constantly trying to correct you or sway your opinion or make you question everything that you just said, your opinions, beliefs, or values. Don't get me wrong. Good introspection is good from time to time. You should have these intellectual arguments and conversations, not actual arguments, but like discussions. But for example, if you say, oh, I'd love to buy this when I'm older, and someone says, oh, why would you want to buy that? You should get this because these are da 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 da. What? That's literally haterade. Hater op. They do not care about you. They do not support you. Unless it's like a boycott political standpoint and it's like, okay, look, you need to be watching where your money's going versus like a preference, like, oh, I want a pink one from this brand. And they're like, oh no, these brand, you know what I'm saying? Hater, man. And when I say something negative, that can mean not only them saying something negative about you, but like I said, especially about themselves. How will you practice a positive self-talk when you don't even hear it from anyone around you? The whole point is to get in these rooms and get in these places where you are celebrated. Find a therapist that celebrates you. Find friends who say, okay, girl, go, who hype you up for everything you do. Yes. Find those group of friends. Find the classes that provide that reassurance. Get around people who acknowledge and validate every little success that you have had this far. Because when you're around people who praise you, you will remember what that felt like and what that sounded like, just as much as you remember what that didn't feel like. You tie all of the self-talk and you tie that in with walking in alignment with your truest self, your inner voice will start cheering you on louder and louder and louder. And you keep practicing this. And then one day you'll look in the mirror. You will not only realize how pretty you are, but it'll be a different pretty. It will be a beauty shining from the inside out. And I can't wait for you to see that. Be blessed.